So in today's class, we are going to discuss what is Norton's theorem. We had seen Thevenin's theorem will convert any linear bilateral active network into an equivalent voltage source, a Thevenin voltage in series with a Thevenin impedance. Likewise, Norton's theorem will convert any linear bilateral active network into an equivalent practical current source. That means an ideal current source parallel and impedance is at an impedance is at Norton. Okay, let's get into the details. Norton's theorem. Norton's theorem states that any linear bilateral active network can be replaced by a single current source I Norton in parallel with an impedance Zn. Okay, so any linear bilateral active network can be replaced or can be converted into a single current source parallel and impedance Z Norton. Say for example, you have a linear network like this. Okay, given on the left hand side figure, right? So this is a linear network given with two terminals, say A and B, right? So it can be converted into its equivalent Norton equivalent shown in the right half side, right? Like a current source IN parallel with an impedance Zn. Okay, so this is the Norton equivalent. Okay, these are the points A and B. Now, how can you find Norton current? Norton current IN is the short circuit current measured at the load terminals, right? If you remember, when we discussed Thevenin voltage, it was the open circuit voltage measured across the load points. But what's the Norton current? That is the short circuit current at the load points. Means what? You have to short circuit the load points, find the current what is flowing through this short circuit. That will give you the Norton current IN. Okay, so Norton current is the short circuit current measured at the load terminals. And how will you find the Norton impedance Zn? It is the impedance of the network when all the sources are replaced by their respective internal impedances. Okay, it is the impedance at the load terminals when all the sources in the network are replaced by their respective internal impedances. That means if this network has some voltage source, you have to short circuit them, and if there are any current source, they must be opened. Okay, then you measure what is the impedance as seen from the load points, right? That will give you the Norton impedance Zn. Let's take up one or two examples. Obtain the Norton equivalent for the network given below. Here we have a 25 volt source, 3 ampere current source, 5 ohm and 20 ohm, 4 ohm, they are all impedances. Okay, so as per Norton's theorem, this can be converted into a practical current source with respect to points A and B. Okay, so this is my A, this is my B. Okay, so now we have to find the Norton current IN and the Norton impedance Zn. How can we find the Norton current IN? To find the Norton current, you have to short circuit the load points like this. Okay, this is short circuit, right? Now what happens? A current will be flowing through this branch. Okay, so you need to find the current, how much current is flowing through ISC, right? That will give you the Norton current. Then, so you can adopt any method, either mesh method or source transformation or series path reduction. I will go make use of what is called the nodal method, right? What is nodal method? It is based on Kirchhoff's current law. Algebraic sum of currents at a junction or at a node must be 0. So I assume that here I have a node which is at a potential V1. So what will be the current through 5 ohm? It will be V1 minus 25 divided by 5, right? That will be the current through this. Then what will be the current through 20 ohm? Current through 20 ohm is V1 divided by 20, right? And what's the current through 4 ohm? V1 divided by 4. Okay, so these are all currents leaving this node. Okay, so sum of currents leaving must be equal to what? Sum of currents entering. Do we have any current entering the node? Yes, it is 3 ampere. Must be equal to 3. Okay, so if you solve this thing, you will get what is the V1. Okay, so your V1 will turn out to be 16 volt. Okay, so in one go you can find what is the voltage at node V1, right? So that is V1. What's the question? Question is to find the short circuit current ISC, not V1. So how will you find ISC? ISC will be V1 divided by 4, which is 4 ampere. Okay, 4 ampere, right? So this is our Norton current, correct? 4 ampere. Now what next? We have to find the Norton impedance. How? by replacing all the sources with their respective internal impedances. That means this voltage source must be shorted and this current source must be opened. Okay, so you will get a circuit like this. Right. So now how will you find the effective impedance as seen by the open circuit terminals A and B? Assume a current is entering point A. What happens? That current will flow through 4 ohm. After reaching this point, one branch will flow through 5 ohm, another branch will flow through 20 ohm. And at this node, both the currents merge. Means what? 20 ohm and 5 ohm, they are in parallel, and that combination and this 4 ohm, they are in series. That means your Rn will be equal to 8 ohms. Okay, so this is your Norton equivalent. It consists of a current source IN of 4 ampere and a parallel impedance or resistance of 8 ohms. So this network has been converted into an equivalent current source, practical current source. Okay, this is how to apply Norton theorem. Another example, determine the current I0 using Norton theorem. What is current I0? Current I0 is the current flowing through 4 ohm. Okay, so what's the first step? You remove the load. Okay, so 4 ohm is the load. So you remove, say, point A and B. Remove 4 ohm from point A and B. Short circuit points A and B to find the short circuit current. Okay, how to solve this? Anything. I will follow mesh method. Okay, so if you take this as the mesh current in mesh 1, immediately I can write what? I1 equal to 5 angle 0 ampere. Okay, I1 equal to 5 angle 0. Right. Now we consider two other mesh currents as shown, I2 and I3. Right. So from loop 2, what will you get? So I2 is flowing through what? I2 is flowing through 8 plus J10 minus J2. That means 8 plus J2, I2. Then through this J10 ohm, I2 and I1 are in opposite direction. So minus of J10 into I1. And through this minus J2, I2 and I3 are in opposite directions, right? Sorry, in same direction. So that means minus J2 into I3. Let me repeat. Through this thing. Okay, how can you write this? First you write currents flowing through terms corresponding to I2, I1 and I3. So I2 is flowing through what? I2 into 8 plus J10 minus J2. Okay, then next term, what? So see, if you consider J10 ohms, I2 is from left to right. Similarly, I1 is from right to left. They are in opposite direction. So that means minus J10 into what? Into I1. Then plus, what is the net current flowing to minus J2 ohm? Here, I2 is from top to bottom. I3 is also from top to bottom. So plus minus J2 into I3 must be equal to 0. That is what is written here. Okay. So I1 we already know it is nothing but 5 angle 0. Just substitute that, you will get some non-zero value, which can be taken to the other side. Okay. Then you will get an equation of this kind. 8 plus J8 into I2 minus J2 I3 equals 50 angle 90. Now we consider the third loop. So for this assumed current direction, minus to plus potential rise. So plus 20 angle 90 must be equal to what? Sum of partial drops. What is the drop here? What's the impedance? Impedance is minus J2. What's the net current flowing through minus J2? I3 and I1, they are in same direction. That means I1 plus I3. Then plus minus J2 into, what's the net current flowing through this minus J2? Both I2 and I3 are in same direction, top to bottom. So into I2 plus I3. Okay, so you will get an equation of this kind. Again, I1 is known, what? 5 angle 0. Substitute that here, you will get a non-zero term. Take it to the right side, simplify that. Okay, so what's our aim? Our aim is to find what is the short circuit current ISC, which corresponds to I3. So how can you find I3? I3 will be delta 3 by delta. Okay, from which you will get 8.6403 angle 186.41 amperes. Okay, so this is the Norton current. Now, how can you find the Norton impedance? Remove or replace all the sources by their respective internal impedances. That means current source must be open, voltage source must be shorted. Assume a current is entering. What happens? One branch will flow through this, another branch will flow through this. Means what? 8 plus J10 is in series, that and minus J2 are in parallel. That parallel combination is in series with minus J2, from which you will get your Z Norton as 4.2573 angle minus 86.63 ohms. Are you getting me what I'm saying? So it is easy. Now we have determined the Norton current IN. We have determined the Z Norton. What is the question? Question was to find the current through the 4 ohm that was originally at points A and B. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to now connect the 4 ohm across the Norton terminals. Okay, so 4 ohm is here. So what will be the current through the 4 ohm? How can you find current division through? Main current IN into impedance of the other branch Zn divided by sum of impedances Zn plus 4, which means 6.119 angle 114.77 amperes. This will be the current through 4 ohm using Norton equivalent. We have solved the same problem using Thevenin's theorem also. You can verify that. Okay, is that clear? Fine. Next problem. Using Norton theorem, find V2 so that current through 2 plus J3 ohm is 0. Okay, so this is the load, which means that must be short circuited. Okay, because Norton current is what? It is the short circuit current flowing through the load terminals. Okay, so here the load terminals are 2 plus J3. So this is my A, load point A and point. Okay, so they must be shorted, right? ISC. Now we have to find what's the short circuit current. How can you find any method? Okay, so let us go for the mesh method, right? So there will be 3 loops. So I have 3 loop currents, I1, I2, I3. This will be my KVL. Okay, the mesh method, right? For this assumed current direction, minus the plus potential, rise 30 and 0. There are no voltage source here, 0. For this assumed current direction, plus 2 minus potential, draw, so minus V2. What is Z11? Sum of all impedances through which I1 is flowing, 5 plus J5. Z12, common to 1 and 2, it is J5. Both currents are in opposite direction, so minus J5. 1, 3 is 0. Like that, you can construct the impedance matrix. Okay, so what next? What's our aim? Our aim is to find the short circuit current. That means we have to find what is I2. How to find I2? Delta 2 by delta. Second column. What is delta 2? Second column replaced with the voltage vector. Okay, so you will get your Norton current as this. Okay, the short circuit current or Norton current like this. Keep in mind, V2 is here. Okay, it is not a single constant. It is a function of V2. Now what next? We have to calculate what is the Norton impedance. How will you find Norton impedance? Replace all the sources by their respective internal impedances. So this voltage source must be shorted. This voltage source must also be short circuited, which will give you this figure. Now how will you find the effective impedance? Assume a current is entering point A. What happens? At this point, it will split into 2. One will flow through 5 ohm, another one will flow through J5 ohm. Means what? 5 and J5 are in parallel, and 4 and 6 are in parallel. These two are in series, which means your Zn is 4.9 plus J 2.5 ohms. That will be your Norton impedance. This is the Norton equivalent, right? Now, what's the question? Question is to find what should be the voltage V2 so that current through 2 plus J3 ohm is 0. So you connect it here, right? When can current through 2 plus J3 ohm be 0? Only if this current source is equal to 0. Correct? Because this is an impedance, right? So unless this IN is 0, there will be a current through 2 plus J3 ohm. So for 0 current to flow through 2 plus J3 ohm, IN has to be equal to 0. So you equate it to 0. What will you get? V2 as 35.3565 angle minus 135 volts. Okay, so this is how we can apply Norton's theorem to find 0 current to flow through 2 plus J3 ohms. Okay, one more example. Obtain the Norton equivalent, right? So the first step is we have to find the Norton current. What is Norton current? It's a short circuit current. That means points A and B must be shorted, and we have to find what is ISC, right? Any method. So I will go for the mesh method, right? 2 loops. So I can write in one go what will be the impedance. Okay. So what will be my Z11? Sum of impedance through which I1 is flowing. 3 plus 10, 30 minus J4. 30 minus J4. 1, 2 is 10 ohm. I1 and I2 are opposite direction. So minus 10. 1, 2 and 2, 1 are same. What will be 2, 2? 5 plus 10, 15. Right? So I have to find ISC, the short circuit current, corresponding to I2. That means delta 2. So what is delta 2? Second column of this determinant replaced with the voltage vector. For this assumed current direction, plus 2 minus potential, draw. So minus of 20 angle 0. Now if you have for this assumed current direction, minus plus potential, rise. So 20 angle 0, plus 2 minus potential, draw. So 20 angle 0 minus 10 angle 45. Okay. So if you do this, you will get your Norton current as 1.3859 angle minus 80.45 amperes. Okay, so this gives you the Norton current. Now, how to find the Norton impedance? Replace all the sources by their respective internal impedances. That means this must be shorted and this voltage source must be shorted. You will get circuit like this. What will be the equivalent impedance as seen from the open circuit terminals A and B? Assume a current is entering at this point. At this point, one will flow through this, one will flow through this. Means what? 3 minus J4, they are in series. That and 10 ohm are in parallel. That combination and 5 ohm, they are in series. So your Zn will be 7.9729 minus J 2.1621 ohms. Okay, so in this way you can calculate the Norton equivalent. Got it? Now we will consider Norton equivalent with dependent source. Keep in mind, to find the Norton or Thevenin equivalent with dependent source, the procedure is the same. Okay, find the open circuit voltage by the nodal method or mesh method. Find the short circuit current, take the ratio to find what is RTH or RL. Let us take one problem. Obtain the Norton equivalent. Okay, so what we have to first do, we have to find the open circuit voltage and the short circuit current. Okay, so how will you find the open circuit voltage? We had already discussed this. So open circuit voltage means this voltage. Okay, voltage across 25 ohm. That is V, right? And V is V. Okay, so what? So here this is a closed path. Current starts flowing, right? So what will be the open circuit voltage? It will be opposite to. It will be minus V. Okay, so you will get minus 25 into 20I. That means minus 500I. That will be your open circuit voltage, right? Now what next? From here you will get, if you apply KVL, what will you get? For this assumed current direction minus plus potential rise. So 5 minus 3V divided by 2000 will be your I. Okay, from which if you substitute, you will find your I as 0.01 ampere. You can substitute that here. You will get what is your open circuit voltage, and that will be around minus 5 volt. Now what next? We have to find the short circuit current. How to find short circuit current? Short circuit the load points. Okay, so once you short circuit this thing, what happens? This 25 ohm becomes redundant. Why? Because 25 ohm is bypassed by the short circuit. Current will always flow in the least resistive path. Okay, so short circuit means what? R is equal to 0. So the entire current from this dependent current source will be flowing through the short circuit at points A and B. That means 25 ohm can be removed. Okay, so since 25 ohm can be removed, voltage V is 0. This dependent voltage source will also be of no use at all. So that also can be removed. So your short circuit current will be 2.5 into 10 raised to minus 3 ampere. Right? So what will be your RTH or RN? It will be 100 volts. Okay. So this is your Norton current. IN, which means minus 50. Means what? Actually, it is in the opposite direction. So you can show it like this. So IN can be written as 50 into 10 raised to minus 3 ampere. And here we have an impedance, okay, of what value? Of 100 ohms. This is the meaning, okay. Moving on, obtain the Norton equivalent, right? So how to find this? So here we do not have any independent sources. That means your Norton equivalent will not consist of any current source. Instead, it will simply comprise a Norton resistance or a Norton impedance, okay. So what next? How to solve this? Assume a test current source of IT amperes applied, right? So that current flows in the network. Then what we have to do? We have to find the voltage VT appearing across the current source. The ratio of V2 to IT gives RTH or RN, right? So this is being applied. Now, if you apply KCL, what will you get? What will you get? So it's assume this potential is VT. Okay, that's why. So what will be the current to this thing? It will be VT by 30. What will be current to this 30 plus VT by 30, right? And this is current is entering. What will you get? Equal to Vx by 6, right? And here also it is entering, right? So that means what? IT. Maybe current is also entering here, right? And this current entering is IT, right? But what is Vx? Vx is nothing but what? Voltage across this thing, right? So that means Vx can be written by voltage division rule. How will you find? The total potential is VT. So Vx will be equal to VT into what? 10 divided by 30. That means VT by 3. Voltage division rule, right? What is this? This is the voltage division rule. Okay. If you apply that, you can solve for VT, right? So what will be your VT? VT is this thing. So what is VT by IT? It will be around 90 ohms. Okay. So your Norton equivalent will simply comprise of an impedance or a resistance Rn or Zn, which is equal to 90 ohms. This is the Norton equivalent. Okay. So this is how we can apply Thevenin's theorem to calculate or to convert a given network into its equivalent practical current source. A Norton current source IN parallel a Norton impedance Zn. Okay. So we'll stop here. Thank you.